Welcome to Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, and as we continue our series, Family Matters That Matter, today we will talk about how do you break the cycle of abuse, regardless of the type of abuse: sexual abuse, emotional abuse, date rape. How does one break the cycle of abuse? In a news release dated September 4th, 2010, the following information was published. 6 months after the Affordable Care Act was signed into law, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Secretary Kayleen Sebulus highlighted another important facet of the law today with the announcement of nearly $100 million in grants made possible primarily by the new law's Preventative or Prevention and Public Health Fund. The grants will support a variety of critical public health programs in states and local communities. Everything from tobacco quitting, lines to HIV testing, to programs that help address and tackle substance abuse and mental health issues. Now, although monetary funds might be available to assist in abating many types of abuse, as given out $100 million from Health and Human Services, the real catalyst behind breaking any abuse cycle is the decision made inside the mind of not the abuser, but the abused, that they will not accept abuse any longer as an option for living a productive life. As simple as that decision might sound, it will be the most challenging event of change that an abused person will ever do or ever attempt to do once the decision is made that they want to break the cycle of abuse. In essence, breaking the cycle of abuse is an action. It's a decision, but it must be followed up with specific activities that will be difficult at several levels for the individual who now has made the decision to break the cycle of abuse. Breaking out of the abusive cycle involves some major items. The knowledge that the life now lived outside of abuse will be different from the abused life in terms of several items. Where do you go? You've been accustomed. The abused person has been accustomed to going certain places. So life is going to be different at the level of simply, where do you go? Avoiding individuals filled with abusive thinking, where do you go? You just move away from them. That's what people say. You just move away. But as you move away from abusive people, who do you go to? That's really a challenge for individuals who have made up their mind to break out of the abusive cycle. How do you wrestle with not feeling isolated? What you are experiencing is a readjustment of people anticipation, because abused people, strangely, have learned a degree of being connected in an abusive world of people. So I've made the decision, no more abuse in my life. But then you've got to break the cycle of feeling isolated, because now it's going to dictate, I'm going to possibly have to find new friends. I know how abusive people treat me. I know what to expect in that environment. So if I leave that environment, now I feel isolated. But there must be the knowledge that you really won't be isolated, because once you let go of the abusive environment, you will discover there is a whole new world of people out there that will not abuse you like the abusive people have. And then, once the decision is made to leave the cycle of abuse, you must be willing to move away from not embracing the shame of the life, the behaviors, the experience that you were exposed to by your abusers. The shame should belong to the abuser, not to the abused. Move away from feeling that you are not worthy, or you are less than others, or they will never embrace me if they ever find out what I once tolerated. The they meaning the new people in your new world. Or they will think less of me because of what happened to me. Or I can't forgive myself for being a victim. Once you make up in your mind that you're going to break the cycle of abuse, also know there's another world of people. Know there's a place to go. Know that you're not going to feel isolated, because the new people that you associate with will make sure that you are not left alone. And also, as you leave that world of abuse, make sure that you embrace that there is no shame in being set free. Let the person who abused you absorb the shame. And don't worry much about, I can't, they won't. Because once you move into the world of liberation from abuse, you will see they will. And I can too. The good news is, you never have to really forgive you for what an abuser did to you. So don't struggle much with, how can I forgive myself? I've been raped. You don't need to forgive yourself for being raped. How can I forgive myself for growing up in an alcoholic or an abusive home? You don't have to forgive yourself. The people who did that, who created, nurtured that environment, should be the ones that are struggling with, how can I get forgiveness for what I've done to this individual. In the book of Luke, chapter 23, verses 34 through 41, Jesus is on the cross, and Jesus never seeks forgiveness from his Father for what other people had done to him. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They're the ones that had mishandled Jesus. Jesus never asked for forgiveness for the sins that others committed against him. But the others were answering him and saying, does not thou fear God? See, thou art in the same condemnation. Remember the other two malefactors? They're saying, we indeed justly receive the due rewards of our deeds. When people mistreat you, it's their responsibility to get atonement. But when you've been the recipient of their abuse, never ever seek forgiveness for what you did not do as you break out of the cycle of abuse. I'll see you back in class again next time. Don't be late, and don't skip class.